In fact, almost reprimanded and made to had a punishment of one year completely, not seeing any movies,
Oh, really?
parades. So I have gone through the best of military training in terms of tough training that I've gone through, uh, being in a Sainik school. So
Okay.
I was not the best student of the school. Of course, I was basically one of the last rank guys. Yes.
Okay.
I do not
So you
forget
could
the school.
adjust to the.
But the best thing
Yeah.
about the school is I don't
I think
forget the school.
perhaps that's nice. So it's good to study, take your initial school foundation in a very disciplined manner. I think that teaches you a lot of values. Perhaps those values have come to stead now that you are managing such a big company, right, Mani?
Yeah, I think I have tried to do things that what we do in school very clearly. Let me tell you, my entry into school was accidental. Unlike what I become an entrepreneur, accidental entrepreneur. My brother was about 4 years older to me, and he was good in studies, and so he got into the school in science school. So when my turn was there, my father said, "No, no, you're not going to the school. You have to study here. Let your brother only do in Chinese school." I said, "Why the hell he can go there? Why the hell I can't do it?" So I had to fight with my father to go to the school.
Rebellious.
Yeah, because there's a competition
The
between the
rebel, the
brothers.
rebel in you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my father very hesitatingly put me in the school, and the best thing I remember in a Chinese school is most of you should know. I think is I come from a village, as he said, in Kiramangalam. So we were a Tamil medium guys. We were never basically taught anything English except basically the first 26 letters or whatever it is and few words here and there. So when I joined the school in fifth standard when I was 9 years old, and the best students, most of the guys who come from vernacular mediums, whether it is Malayalam or Tamil or any other Marathi guys were also there, or even Punjabi guys. So we were all basically just not knowing anything about English. So we didn't know what to talk to each other. So we used to converse either in Tamil or Malayalam or anything else. But there were a bunch of guys who came from extremely the convent schools. They used to speak in English. So we used to get awed by them when we were young. So we were in the same class where half the guys were English medium guys, half the guys were Tamil medium in the fifth class. And I still remember, I got to know when I was in seventh standard when I could also speak in English. One of the guys, master was, I still remember his name is Ratnasamy, and geography master. He used to teach us geography. So he was talking about rotation and revolution of the earth. So the whole class, I only just I was doing a ratta mark. I was really mugging up. Rotation, revolution, rotation, revolution. I didn't know anything what the hell it was. But he thought the whole class was basically English medium guys, and he was teaching only in English. But the repetitive words were rotation and repetitive words were revolution. So next time when he came back and he said, "Guys, you remember what I taught you?" And he asked a question, some question he asked. I didn't know what the hell it was question. So normally only the English medium guys used to say, "I can answer." So this time I was also saying, "I think I can answer." So all my Tamil brother and the vernacular brother, they were very happy, proud. Oh, one guy from R is going to answer the question. So I got up and said basically just, revolution. And the entire class was laughing, except basically the vernacular guys. I also didn't know what the hell I did wrong. So actually he did ask some other question. I said revolution. Okay. So it was a very tough time to basically just, get into those mechanism of understanding English and being there. So that's my learning to the school. Yes.
Super. Yeah, I think we all have those kind of follies in the early stages of our life, and I'd like you did he did a bachelor in zoology, and so after bachelor in zoology, you wanted to get into pharma, right, Mani?
No, I didn't want to get into pharma, but what I did was there were tough times. I think most of you don't know, 75, 76, 77 were the very tough times for the country. In fact, I think the country went through famine. And
right.
And what we did was, I did zoology. I didn't do well. So I couldn't get basically post-graduation anyway, easy. So all that my dad could do was get into basically any other course where you could um, see a job. You can basically do a job.
Yeah.
So I think that is where we did uh, go to pharmacy. It was a 1 year course. And so for a guy who basically is 1 year course, I thought of either setting up a shop or becoming a pharmacist. So these were the options I had. So that was in 1980. Incidentally, I think it's, during that period of doing a course in medical college, I got a job as a clerk in Indian Overseas Bank when I was doing my course. So that is where I became a banker. So imagine an army school guy, never went to basically defense,
Yeah.
did his zoology and never did MSc in zoology, nothing to do with zoology.
Yeah.
And joined basically and did pharmacy, never became basically a pharmacist. Then he became a banker.
Banker.
So,
Yeah.
so nothing to do with whatever I have learned in life, I became a banker.
Yeah.
And good thing about me was my manager was, he liked me because I had a good handwriting.
Yeah.
So those days we used to write, nothing was there, right? So you got to write everything, passbooks, ledgers, everything has to be in. Right? So I had a good handwriting. So I was okay in mathematics. Once I was very good in mathematics, I was okay in mathematics. So accounting was easy to basically absorb. So I became a banker. And so that's why I became banking professional, yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So that's, interesting to know that, that what you did study and what you actually are doing now are, totally different. And this happens to, I think, majority of the people, it's not that it's what you do, what you study actually takes you there, right? So there is always that mismatch that happens. But yeah, there is little, sometimes only little you can do from a fate point of view, right? So you became a banker in IOB, and from IOB you moved to PNB,
Correct.
and then you hit upon this India Switch company, which perhaps was your basis to kind of move into what you are doing now. Correct, isn't it? Correct.
Correct.
So how was that movement from PNB to India Switch company?
Okay. In fact, getting into PNB was also basically just not my thought, my dream. I'm happily working in my village. In Kiramangalam, I was working in a bank. Imagine my own village. I was working in a bank, and it's a very small population of 6,000 people. So everybody starts respecting you. So there were two guys who were my colleagues. The guy is now in US, and his name was J Prakash.
Okay.
And he was the guy who used to goad me, Mani, I think we should write PO exam. We must basically just do that. Because he was a guy who was basically ambitious and wanted to do that. So once we did a joint study for basically appearing for PO exam. And incidentally, I passed, he didn't pass. And of course, basically just, he went to US and I came to PNB. That's how I came to Punjab National Bank.
Okay.
And from Punjab National Bank, I think I didn't do much in banking in Punjab National Bank because very early, I think I met, there was a technology piece coming in. You had Micah coming in. You had OLTP machines coming, online transaction posting machines coming in. So everything was getting into technology, computerized, that's the word is called. So every department we used to have a department in every bank, CPPD, Computer Policy Planning Division.
Yeah.
And Reserve Bank used to have MSD. I think it's MSD, Managed Services, something to do with department. So I think what we did was I incidentally got into Swift. So that is where my technology initiative started. And and first my induction into technology was with a DCM PC XT.
Okay.
With a printer from Lippy. It was dot matrix printer. It was not even a LaserJet printer, dot matrix printer. And these were the two things, the devices I've seen in life as computers. And you used to have two floppies, one for booting, one for basically just playing around. The big floppies of 5.5 inches. That's where I think I learned computing. And I used to be fascinated by this device, which could basically just when you type something, everything comes on the screen. Oh, wow. Because they used to have electronic typewriter, which comes on the papers. Nothing comes on the screen. Okay.
Right.
It goes back to you. So input device, output device. It was all exciting. So I got very much interested in that. So I left PNB in 95, 96.
Mm-hmm.
Then that was the time there was opportunities to get into uh, private banks. All the private banks are opening up. So I got a job in Times Bank. I got a job in, and I have a. It's okay. And I had a problem. Can 1 minute? Is there some problem with which settings, Kumar?
No, it's okay. You go ahead. Go keep going. Yeah.
Tapash is okay.
All okay, all okay.
Okay, thank you. So I was basically just getting into one of the private banks that was that time VTA Bank, and the whole department had 4 professionals: 1 GM, 1 DGM, 2 senior managers, and that was the department.
Mm-hmm.
And we set up the bank, core banking, network, ATMs, centralized database, and you could do internet banking. All those things were basically just setting up the early days of it.
Yeah.
So that was a good job, but the point is my boss left. I love my boss. He was a great guy. I was fully fascinated by his name was Varun Roy.
Mm-hmm.
And I love my boss, but this boss left much earlier than I thought. So he left the job and joined some other organization. So
Yes.
we were nowhere to go, and that was the time I got an opportunity to work for ISC, India Switch Company, and that gave me the strength to run an organization. How could we? And I still remember the days when me and Manohar used to basically just sit as late as 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the night, set up the office and go back home. And Manohar is still with me after so many years, from 98 onwards, still now. So that was a great journey, yes.
Okay, that's great. Yeah. So good to know that you moved to in a switch company. You learned a lot, which is kind of holding you in good stead now. So before I go ahead, I want to tell all the participants that this is unlike the other days reviews we have with the various subject matter experts. This is just a freewheeling talk. There is no particular agenda. There is no particular way of conducting this. It's just about knowing Mani Mamallan, who set up such a good organization for many of the participants or employees out there. And you are free to ask him questions, okay? And you can put on your chat box, and we'll try to get to him as many questions as possible. So one of the things that I know about Mani, let me tell you, I used to always tell Mani that Mani eats ATM, drinks ATM, and sleeps with ATM. That's the way I know Mani. He is all about ATMs. The day I met him first time in Avon Ambro Bank, and he started talking to me about the ATMs. I said, man, this guy has got such a lot of depth in the ATM, and then I met him many other times, and I always found him so passionate about ATM, and he is still the same gentleman, very, very passionate. So the ISC got dissolved, right, Mani? It got dissolved for some unfortunate reason, right? Then what happened?
Yeah, I think it's I think money making is one thing which is sometimes good job, sometimes it's bad. As long there's a saying that if you're not making money, if somebody's making money, it's not good. So if you're making money, it is good. So my boss was making money, so I had to lose my job. So we were doing well. So my boss, my promoter, he actually sold the company to, at that time, a company called eFunds. Now today it's FIS. So that is where I think I have to leave the company, and not that I lost the job, I left the company, saying because I had a different dream for ISC, and basically my promoter didn't have the same dream, so we didn't gel there. But that's okay, and I left because of that conflict of interest. That's one of the reasons I left. Okay. So, and that's not a good thing, but I think I think I wove. In fact, ISC was, I always consider ISC as my baby.
Okay.
EPS as our baby. I mean, we had too many fathers there actually. Whereas in ISC, even though it was not founded by me as an organization, but I nurtured it as though I'm my own kid. And I basically just got it up as it was my early days. I spent a lot of time with the kid
Yeah.
and groomed from a 20 people organization to maybe I think it's 80 people organization later on when I left, and from negative net worth to 42 crore net revenues over a period of 3 years. I
Yeah.
think 98 to 2003. Yeah. So I think we did a lot of things, and thanks to that team which was with me those days, the earlier days, I still remember those. I can remember all of those guys, 20 guys' names. I can still
Okay.
remember. Yeah, even
Okay.
today.
Okay.
Maybe in in EPS, I possibly will not remember the whole lot of people's name. But in ISC, I can remember everybody from Manor Boy, Stanley, Nirmala Rao, Trupti, Geeta, Amrish Penkar, um,
Sure. Okay.
Chandrasekhar, X1, so on and so forth. Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent.
Anirudh
Yeah.
Savant, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. So after India ISC, you kind of joined FSS, and
Yes.
from there you moved to CH, right? So I remember, remember you Mani coming, and when I said, okay, we could, I was actually looking out for a marketing person. So that time you joined us, and I was looking at, how can we rank up the turnover? Because that's while I was busy with cloud, getting the banks onto the cloud computing platform. So Mani came to me and said, I have a great idea, and that is, said, why do banks have to buy ATMs, install ATMs, run the ATMs, manage the ATMs? They are bankers. They are not meant to do running ATMs. Why don't we change the game? He said, KK, let's talk to SBI because they are our partners in CH. So why don't we? I said, what do you want to talk to them? He said, tell them we don't do this. Don't buy ATMs anymore. I said, what are you talking? Tell SBI, don't bank, don't buy ATMs. Yeah. He said, yeah, let them, we should kind of talk to them that they can get away from this mold and, pay us on some
AK, I think
transaction.
has.
Sorry? Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can, Kumar.
Okay, cool. So with that in mind, I kind of, I said, but then he went on. I was not. I said, "What the hell is he saying?" How it was a completely a different thought process. Mani that time. I said, "Really, does it work? Will it run? Will it run through our own parent company?" Then But as we went on talking over many tea, coffees, and dosas at Sankalp,
Yeah,
I think.
I know what that is.
Yeah, I think it came out, and we said, okay, let's give it a shot, and guess what? That's worked, right? And that's what you have taken it forward, isn't it?
Yeah. I think I remember those days. If you remember, we used to get out of the office and drive down to Sankalp, and I used to be still in the same mold of "ye karna hai, wo karna hai."
Yeah.
Why can't you do this? And he used to tell me, Mani, Sankalp hai, dosa milta hai. Please eat this dosa first. Forget about everything else now. If this dosa is important. I by nature, I think I'm restless. I think that is where I learned the art of differentiating between things. I've learned a lot of things, even from like Kumar, everybody whom I met. They have all basically given me something to learn. And so I could basically just not enjoy food. And so if you ask me, I would be thinking about everything else, even when I'm drinking, smoking. I used to be a very avid smoker. I used to smoke a lot. And I've just stopped smoking. So those things have changed there are inputs which has come. I've smoked, and one of the colleague was my smoker. He went into a brain hemorrhage. After that, I didn't smoke. So I met you after that. I think I started relishing food and drinks and wine.
Yeah.
Before that, I was not basically just not doing this. And I have become much more calm, quiet down. Coming back to the topic that you said, SBI going for an outsource, SBI buying ATMs from a third-party service provider, that was unheard of.
Yeah.
And SBI itself will never happen. None of the banks, they agreed also. Even the team was not in favor of it. I remember basically So we had Mr. R.P. Sinha and Babu Ramnath, who was basically the CTO and DMD there. And we used to go and basically sit with each other and basically try to convince them. And ultimately, RP Sinha gave in and said, "Yaar, it is हमारा JV है 500 mission तो डालेंगे, let us see." I think. Then I didn't know nothing is, you got to go to the parliament to seek a amendment to the constitution of SBI to do an outsourcing contract to a man, and it got passed in the parliament. So it was so basically just important for them, and that is the first time SBI came out with an outsourcing model ever in their life. Now if now they have close to more than 25,000 machines. They're coming out another 10,000 or 12,000. So SBI will have the largest outsourcing machines in the country. Yes.
Super. Yeah, super. Absolutely. I think participants, I think that's what you all should understand, that an idea can be, completely, you'll find mind blowing. It's like, you say, what stupid idea is this, or something like so extraneous. How is he coming up with such thoughts? But no idea is to be put down, See, that idea which Mani came up with, and I know so many people just said, no, this won't work, this won't work, this won't work. And but somehow I kind of believed in his conviction that this will work, and we said, let's push it, let's, as much as possible, we'll keep pushing. And look where it has taken you, I mean, there are so many employees now in EPS, all with that idea running, it's a great, I'm sure it's a great feeling. Yeah, I used to have a great feeling running CA with so many people working, and their families supported by CA. It's a wonderful feeling. Anybody who starts something like that, it's a great feeling to have. Just that, you're able to give employment to so many people, and an idea that took so many years of rigorous talking, finally, broke through, and that joy was immense. I guess, right? In that reverse auction, that was fantastic. So, while we keep going on to here and there, like I said, it's a freewheeling talk, no agenda, no structure into this. Every Saturday we'll have this. It'll be just free for all, and we'll have different people coming. Like next Saturday, we hope to have a musician. So, just to get away from the normal weekdays, what we talk about. So let me take one question. One gentleman, Srinath, he says, sir, we are happy to be working under you. Now, you were the head of ISC 22 years ago. How did you become the head in such an early stage? Please let us know so that we can follow your footsteps.
Okay, good. Let me tell you, I think please don't plan anything in your life, please. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen when you plan a thing. That's my experiences. Let me just put it basically. I was speaking to somebody yesterday in the evening, and he was my old classmate of mine. So we spoke after so many years. So he called me up. So he said, Mani, I think I've just become 60. I want to retire and go back to something else. And so I will live for another 10, 15 years. That's what he said. So I said, listen, did you ever plan to be a human being? He said, no. So then why the hell you're planning your death? Forget about it. You didn't basically have a planning for your own birth. Now you are planning your death. Nothing is in your hands. Neither basically your birth was in your hands, nor your death. It can come anytime. It may not come at all. You'll be completely. Please have one thing in your life is that don't try to follow somebody. Take some inspiration from everybody, but the way has to be your way. You should really basically just take your way. Don't become basically just entrepreneur at a young age. It is not going to be basically good. I possibly believe. Meaning, I think is how many of us will like Alfonso mango basically ripening at a very, very young period. If it ripens before, it is not a mango. It is not a fruit. It is basically a waste. Correct? So don't become what you are not supposed to be at an age which you are not. Just do the best that you can. You have to be very honest to yourself in terms of work. And I keep basically, this is one mantra I have learned. Never be emotionally professional. You should not become emotionally professional, but you got to be professionally emotional. Okay.
Okay.
So professionally, you got to be emotional. So just restrain your emotions. Be professionally about it. But never become emotionally professional. Professionally professional is good, and professionally emotional is good. Never become emotionally anything. You will anyway get lost. So I think that's my mantra. So be basically what you are, enjoy what you're doing. Entrepreneurship is basically an inspiration. And if you keep doing, I think is what you're doing well, I think you'll become an entrepreneur soon. Yes.
Oh, okay, that's good. So, that's also a question that has come that about being a backbencher, that many of the backbenchers are actually risen in life and come to, is it because they kind of sitting at backbench dream about what they want to do, how to go about it, and willing to take challenges just like you have done?
No, I think that's a good thing. That's a very good question, actually. Yes.
Yeah.
I think you categorize the human population into, I categorize into three populations. If you see your own classmates, the best of the guys, and there is a mediocre in between, and there is basically just the least lot, okay, and they're
Yeah.
not so good out of it, okay.
Yeah.
And the best of the guys, they basically become engineers, doctors, and they go for profession. They basically migrate and they settle down abroad, okay. They are not here. The middle is a large population of middle class, meaning the average people in between. And the least is also, the specialty is basically the best guys are minorities and the least guys are also minorities. The average guys are the majority guys. Okay.
Yes.
And they are the consumers. They are the consumption lot. And you have to work for them. So anything you make, you're going to make for the average population. Whether it is a service or a product or anything, any innovations or discovery or anything you define, even a market or a service you define.
Yeah.
So I think the advantage of sitting at the back bencher is in a classroom, you can see everybody, the best guys, worst guys, right guys, wrong guys, teachers, principals, everybody you can see. So your knowledge is much, much different from the guy who's sitting at basically the first row, who only sees the teacher. He doesn't see anything else. But you can see the whole world, whole vistar of basically just, environment, ecology. That could basically just, give you a different perspective. I was a backbencher myself. And possibly, I think is, and I say backbencher, not in terms of sitting at the back, but I was not a very good student of academics. But I can basically just, do most of the things. And I was very inquisitive, and I was a rebel. I will never conform to things. If somebody says something, I will always say, why should not be something else? I think that has put me in a different perspective. Yes.
Excellent. Yeah. So that brings us to one one thing that I think you have been telling your people, that telling them that the other guy's weakness is never our strength, and the process is registered in the guy who was sent this question or made this observation, that you always used to say that never think that other guy's weakness is our strength. Could you, Mani, is it possible for you to elaborate on that?
Yeah, okay. See, in the very fact, I think it's, the world is not binary, okay? It's not plus or minus. It is not good or bad, okay? So if somebody is bad, doesn't mean that you're good, okay? I think that's what I mean by other guy's weakness is not your strength. So whenever you want to work in an organization, you need to have something good about yourself or positive about yourself or a skill or anything about yourself. Simply because you compare yourself with other guy and that guy is, I am better than the other guy, so you got to give me this. That doesn't make sense. There may be somebody else who is better than you who will come back and say, I think you're basically back to where you are. So I think it's, you just can't compare. That's what I meant by saying you can't basically just see other guy's weakness is not your strength. So you should have your own strength. Strength is yours, and nobody can take it away from you. And because other guy's weakness, that is not your strength. That is only basically just perceptive. The strength has to be inherent. It is not perceptive. That's what I meant.
Yes. So, Mani, these are, as you know, tough days for us. Everyone is going through this pandemic, India and the rest of the world, and it's not easy, right? Everyone has a lot of problems, and during such days, what's the message that you want to give to the participants in this call?
Okay, that's a good thing. See, I'll tell you what. Everyone has got a life. Nobody decides tomorrow what it is. I was basically just very funnily saying coronavirus is like God, because we can't see it, but it can affect you anyway. Okay, and so possibly I think is you should treat coronavirus like is God. respect it. Please give all the respect it deserves. And if it requires basically just keeping your isolations, arm's length, social, basically just
Distancing.
distance, distancing, and securing yourself against anything else, please do it. It is not only for you, for the family, and for the generations of basically just human species that is going to come out of this generation. So it's very important that we need to secure ourselves that way. At the same time, don't get bogged down by it's like a myth. It can be good, it can be bad. For all you know, tomorrow you will have another basically just what I was somebody was saying today. Somebody called up. I think it's one of our colleagues. He
Yeah.
called me up. Sir, I think it's everybody goes to a specific hospital in the nearby neighborhood. They say everyone is tested positive, and but after 3 days they become negative. Okay, meaning any patient which is tested in that hospital is tested positive for COVID, and after 3 days they say no, it is negative. So I told them, I think it's a great positive hospital. It's a very positive hospital. Anyway, after 3 days it gives you positive news, but tests is positive the first day. After 3 days it's negative. So in both ways it's a very positive. So I think things are not basically just in your control. I think this you have to basically just only take care of things which is under control. Beyond that, I think it's live happily. This is a time to basically just reminiscence your basically just family, your kids, and life. Possibly you can't kiss your wife. You have your own fear of kissing. Sorry to tell you, basically in a public platform, but you can't basically just have the intimacy. But the point is, but you can be basically much more connected to your wife, your family, kids, brothers, sisters, and you keep basically talking to each of them. You miss them, but you at least let them know that you're missing them.
Absolutely.
I think this is the time which has given you something which is a reprieve from the daily routine where you can always claim to me, I am busy, sorry, I'm in a work. No, you can't do that. You're at home.
Yeah.
Correct? I think most of us for EPS, I can always say, I think it's a whole lot of guys have done a great job. And at the same time, I think I can see this we have as an EPS employees or EPSCM, you have been working more when you're working from home than in the office. And that's what I feel. And all of us are actually doing much more than what we are doing in the office. And I would have never had an audience of so much, even in a town hall in EPS office. And I have so much of audience here. Thank you.
Yeah. Look at the positive side when you're down and out is the mantra. And I think what you're saying is right, Mani, in sense. Yeah, the God, nature has thrown you into a position, into a place where you have to find your ways. You have to reimagine yourself, not only about you, your business, and what are your identity, and do the best out here. And that's a key. Don't get bogged down. Don't get lost because of what's happening. This will also pass, and we will move on. Mani, just yesterday we talked about the black swan, that happens in the financial industry, and we had a good speaker, CEO of StanChart, ex-CEO of StanChart, Jaspal Bindra, who put so much of light on the black swan events that have happened. And one of the events, the black swan events for me, is the demonetization from a business point of view. I'm not talking from politically or any other angle. From a business point of view, how did EPS take this demonetization? Because it's all about cash. What was the impact, and how did you take it chin up?
Okay. See, two things. Okay. One of the things is I have personal experience I can share with you. How did I basically just take on those two events of demonetizations, and now at least this is not as bad as demonetization is. In fact, for EPS, demonetization was a black swan case. Two things that we basically just did during the period and then was it hit us very royally. It is absolutely very bad times. And one thing inherently, I believe this country is not going to go away from cash, whatever the reasons are going to be. Okay, and we will continue to be the same at us. So if you don't believe yourself, then making your team believe things is very going to be difficult, and the market believe it is going to be difficult. So It's very important that you are very confident of your belief and the faith that you have. Stick to that and push your basically, I won't say agenda, push your thought process to the team that believes you and take them along. You have to take those steps, which is hard steps. In fact, during the process, all of us took a beating of basically taking our off half of a salary cut. 50% of salary was cut during the demonetization period. In fact, that made us look at cutting down our own overhead costs those times. And possibly just in a couple of people have to leave during demonetization because of it. They were very good friends who basically just been part of creating EPS in the earlier stages. So that is what we did. And later on, when they basically just demonetization was over, we possibly could basically just take them on. That's exactly what we did during this COVID period. We have taken a cut at the highest level, at promoters level, the senior management level, and every level, but left the junior most employees the least. So we have to cut down our overheads to be surviving in those scenarios. So that's what we do as a family, right? Whenever basically things are not physically happening, we first of all the luxuries. You can't go to the theater, you can't buy clothes, you want to no luxury things we'll be doing. So we will stop all those things and start basically surviving. So which is what we did during that period. That requires two things. You have to lead by example. You need to be on the front. You got to take the fire and the bullets on the head. Otherwise, it's going to be difficult. And if you lose heart, I keep saying to everybody, in a family of, if you're going to be in a family, while in an organization, everybody wants to be very transparent. Everybody should know whatever is happening at the top. But if it is your own family and you have a difficult process and you will discuss with your wife and you may discuss with your dad or father-in-law, mother-in-law, but you'll never discuss with your kids because you don't want them to lose hope. So please note, HOPE is a very important word in everybody's dictionary. Hope is the one that makes you live. Aspirations are important. And you need to basically just keep the bad things out of it. Let me tell you, I have never seen a TV for the last 3 years. I've never seen a TV. I've never seen any TV programs at all. And I hardly read any newspapers. Don't keep the muck on your head. I keep saying this to most of the people. I belong to a generation, as I told you, where the PCs were invented. I have a 20 MB hard disk. This generation of people have GB hard disk, so they can basically take all inputs. So I try to basically just get the minimum things going into my head and process this and live with that. And if you take more, then you'll get confused. So please don't clutter your thoughts, brain. Keep minimum things which is required and survive. It's easy during these times. Don't think about the future. Think about today and today to survive and sustain yourself for the future battle that is going to come, or if not, basically hopes that is going to basically evolve. Thank you.
Very, very well said, Mani. I'm sure demonetization period was a real tough time for you to manage your business and to manage the employees and their families. It takes a lot of guts and still keep your confidence and chin up. So great to know that, sir. So like I've been saying, this is a freewheeling discussion. So please free to ask your questions. This is a good chance to ask questions which perhaps you may have not had the opportunity to kind of express. So Mani, you have mentioned that you are, you're normally restless. That's what he said. You're a rebel right from the childhood, and you're restless. You have already achieved a lot. Okay, typically by setting up this huge organization. Is there something else that you still want to do or you're planning to do?
I told you I won't plan anything. Planning is never in my dictionary. I think I go by the way things are. I think it's, I was an accidental entrepreneur, and you know very well, and all of us know very well. And I tried basically the 4 times to become an entrepreneur, and at the 5th time I was successful. And I can't take names, but I think every time we have met, we made an organization, we had a couple of meetings. But I think so. I don't plan anything. But by nature, I think I am restless because I am not a conformist. I see things around not right. I will try to find this is not right. This should basically change. They should basically just become different than what it is, including the way nothing is you look at our own environment. Imagine nothing is all of us are looking at this COVID as we are locked down. Imagine entire basically animal kingdom except the one animal which is called human being is only locked down. Every other animal is free. Imagine this happiness that you've brought into that other species. And they just walk.
Yes.
My doggy goes for a walk. In fact, I think he wants to be let loose so that he can run because nobody's there in the road, right? Imagine the basically parrots. You imagine the basically quails. Even forget about even the basically crows, eagles, like called the scavengers of the earth. They are all very happy, and they're very peaceful. When so, if I am restless because I think it's we have made them restless. Now let us basically just make ourselves restless. I love nature. I love this. I was in our school. I was we were there for long years. My life, 7 years, we were in that school. It was just we had mountains, we have dams, we have waterfalls, we have elephants, we have crocodiles, we have everything that you ask for. In fact, even on the grounds that we play, the elephants used to come and basically just put the cow down or the elephant down and go off. And in the morning before playing, we used to basically remove the dung and then play. To that extent, the elephants used to live on the grounds. So I think we were part of that system. In fact, the snakes used to be there in the near pit where the hostels were there. So we used to catch the snakes, put it in the bottle and keep it in the rooms. So we lived with basically just so different environments. So that was different. The air was clean, tidy. There was no pollution.
Yeah.
So we had. In fact, I think it's the only species which is responsible for what we are today. The earth is now is us, no other species. And we should be responsible. And if we are not responsible, I think we should basically just take lessons from them. So if I'm restless because I think it's by nature I can't sit idle. I need to be different. I need to think different. I need to basically react different. And I need to have an alternate view. So I think that has come by nature. I think maybe it's insecurity, curiosity, to be not in agreement with others. I think that's a disease.
Very well said. I think you're absolutely right. So nature is telling us that you have taken too much things from us, and we need it back. And perhaps that's the lesson that we have learned in this COVID era. While that's true, and perhaps it's true for the nature. Mani, how do you see this corona impacting EPS business, and going forward, how should individuals in your organizations prepare themselves?
I think it did affect. If I say it didn't affect it, I will be lying. It did affect our business.
It affects everybody. Every business.
Yeah, it has affected. If it affects the economy, then it affects basically the market. If it affects the market and there's a demand and supply issue, then if there is demand and supply, then there's a consumer basically just who is not going to do basically just consumer activities. So if he doesn't do consumer activities, there is no basically supply of money. If there is no supply of money, which means cash, the cash is not going to be used. If the cash is not going to be used, ATMs are not going to be dispensing. The ATMs are not going to be dispensing. I'm not going to make money. So I am anyway affected. Will be affected, even not today, even in the longer run to be. But having said that, there are good things that has happened. Now we have started living within the means. The luxury is gone. Working from home has been more effective. Possibly nothing is most of us will start basically working from home from now onwards. That's an advantage of basically just we have seen it ourselves. We have been pushing ourselves, not having. We need to look at basically other new business opportunities. Now nothing is enough. People are not going to step out. So how do you bring them basically just things that they have been used to? That is a business that we need to think about in terms of payment, in terms of payment services, in terms of basically just other economic things or necessities that they will like to have. Imagine nothing is we were so used to basically having a haircut, go to a shop, एक घंटा में आ जाएगा, right? Imagine, I think thank God, I think Kumar, you should know, when we used to basically have a haircut in a village, we used to basically just can't get into the house. We can't get into the house straight away.
Yes.
You have to straight away go to the bathroom, which is basically behind the house, throw all the dresses out there and take a bath, then basically just put wash the clothes which is there, then you can get into the house. And likewise, even basically before that, Even if you don't have a haircut, when you come into the house, we used to wash the legs, hands, tidy everything basically just before coming into the house. I was speaking to somebody in the morning and he was saying the same thing. These were the habits that we had it before. I don't know how many of you have seen in the south when we go to a neighbor's house, when they give you basically a glass of water, we never used to split the water and drink. We used to raise it above the mouth and drink. How many of us have done that? We have done that. So these were the things which we were having it much before COVID came into our life.
Yeah, true.
So we should basically be the way we should adapt ourselves to different things, and things would basically be these are the new things that you have to, but in an old wine and new bottle you would possibly have to have a new business ideas, new business basically models, and we employees yourself can send us ideas which could basically just make sense to us, and we will basically want to recognize, award them, and give them basically just their due in EPS. So we will have to change that. The way we are looking at is we are cut down our cost, we are cut down our capital cost, we are cut down our operational cost, we are cut down our overheads. That is one thing. The revenue increase will be difficult, but if we can sustain the revenue that we are making, good. And possibly festival season will not possibly have the rise of transaction that we will have. It will basically just be flattening out. But I think if we can maintain the level of transaction that you mean last year revenue itself, I think that'd be good to go. But we have to get into new business models to create revenues. And if we don't have those models, our organization balance sheet may not be growing the way that we are planning.
Very true. I think that's a lesson for everyone, and that's also things that are happening in every business. Everybody is trying to cut cost and survive and remain relevant till this entire thing passes over. So you basically now you are in the lockdown period, Mani, and you're at home, correct? So have you developed any skill sets? Although you're a restless person, and still, are there any skill sets that you developed?
Yeah, I have developed a good skill set. I can sweep very well nowadays.
Okay.
I can mop houses, that I do very well. And I think that's the big skill sets to know. And
True.
one other thing is more than basically just laughing at it. I think I can tell you this: it has brought in a lot of humility.
Yes.
It's brought in basically just your own self-realization of what you are. You're just basically as you are. You're nothing basically just bigger. And the ego, see, everybody we goes to all the gurus in the world or any the philosopher to
Yeah.
actually curtail our own egos. I think this 45 days or 2 months should have been this one session instead of paying those people. This should be the one that you should do. Your pride, your egos, your basically just in humility, everything goes down. You're nothing but a human being, and you should basically take care of yourself and your fellow brethren which are with you. I think you should be concerned about their welfare and their basically interest as well. If you don't know that, then possibly
Yeah.
just it'll be difficult. So being sensitive to people around you is very important, and taking care of their basically just pain is also very important. That teaches you a lot of things, and coexistence is very important. If you don't think this is their job, including the sweeper I see sweeping my society's premises, I
Mm.
feel basically just he's nowhere different from us. And sometimes this class of society, which we have made it ourselves, that somebody is inferior, somebody is superior, and that should go from this place. And it's very important that we treat everybody alike, and every one of them are important. In fact, imagine if they go on strike today, those basically people are sweeping and taking the dustbins from your places. And imagine the plight that you will have. You will basically have to go through all the diseases that you will have. You will die soon. COVID will catch you up, catch up with you soon. So I think we need to respect everybody who does a very menial job as well. And that basically brought me to that movie Pune Boy MBBS. Uh, that's where I think is you could see this guy hugging the guy who was mopping the floor. That's a great lesson to be learned. So please respect everybody, respect every job that you do. No job is inferior, no job is superior. All of you have to respect yourself. Keep your pride, egos, everything down. Wash your latrines and toilets well. Keep it up clean. These are the places where basically just your diseases come, the viral infections happen. So please
Mhm.
keep clean and be safe.
Super, Mani. I think very well said. A lot of things to learn from you for the participants. Great. But being at home, I understand you're also a great musician. Like you play mouth organ and tabla, which I believe are self-taught. Have you added any more into your musical
No, 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 no,
repertoire?
no, no. I think my wife has a keyboard, a violin, and so on and so forth. But I've never learned anything of the thing. But I can sing a bit. I
Oh,
do
great.
sing a bit. I can.
Okay.
My voice is not
Okay.
so bad, but I can sing.
Okay.
So we do basically karaoke. Me and Vidya, we do a karaoke once in a while. So that basically
That's good.
keeps.
Which otherwise you would have not never done.
Never done. Yes, yes.
So that's great thing. So coming back to business money. So I think you said that this virus has given us things to learn. There are things that we have to reimagine ourselves. What do you feel your business? What do you see EPS in the next 5 years post this COVID virus taken over?
Okay. See, I think it's let me for a very important question. I think it's what are the possible sectors that would basically just be good enough to basically take over the primary the sectors that have gone down to the tube during COVID, which can come up, which may not come up. And so I think if you have listened to the series, the Viewpoint series, possibly you would have known what are those sectors. Possibly retail will pick up,
Yeah.
but reality will not pick up.
Yes.
You will have e-commerce picking up, but you may not have that hospitality picking up. The hotels may not pick up. Travel industry will come down. So these are the industries possibly will not make anything. So if you're starting,
Traditional banking will go, but traditional banks missed.
correct,
Banking, yeah,
banking
other
and
way,
banks, that's exactly it. Banking will
yeah,
continue to be there. Banks,
yes,
premises or banking premises may not be there. So it's very
yes,
important to see, align yourself with those basically things that may basically just be going up. E-commerce is the future. Retail, those delivery services will be the key. Logistic will be the big industry. You will have insurance will be a greater industry. Healthcare will be a big industry. Pharmaceutical will be a great industry. And Usme researchers, everything, academicians. I'm telling you, academy, education will be a great industry.
oh yeah,
These are the
yeah,
industries you need to basically just focus on and
yeah,
be a part along with them in terms of either basically just giving them financial services or infrastructure services or processing services. Whatever that could be done in terms of that content processing or basically just enabling them to connect and network. I think these are the services that EPS could provide as a service provider to these industries. You've got to align yourself with those industries. Uh, and we can take care of end-to-end, creating infrastructure, processing it, and even basically making revenues and payments and settlements and reconciliations of those payments for the basically back office or the institution, whether it is uh, education institutions or pharmaceutical institutions or e-commerce institutions. Everybody, you can basically get into that. Logistics, connectivity, these are going to be the major industries. I'm telling you, the industry is going to change and we need to align ourselves and all of us have to basically just get ourselves geared up to that space. And so post this, I think the whole world is going to be different than what it used to be.
yeah, absolutely. I think that's correct. Things will change, and I think you know, participants mostly who are from EPS should also put their thinking hat and suggest to the management what else we should do. You know, just reimagine yourself into a different business. Be an entrepreneur yourself and see what you can do, and give your thoughts to the management. I'm sure Mani will be more than happy to look at every such brilliant ideas that come to you. You talked about education. You know, you said there's going to be a transformation in education. Absolutely, I think that's education is going to change 360 degrees. It changed when internet came into being, and the old traditional way of education went away with internet coming. Now with COVID coming in, that has turned into another. It is another churn that's happening in education. It's going to turn 360 degrees again. What, according to you, Mani, are some of the strategies to be adopted in the education sector? This has come from a professor, Professor Jadhav. So I think he would really like to listen to you on that from an industry point.
Agreed. I think that's a great question. I think it's it's the standard university complexes and the institutions used to have a huge 400 acres premises. I think this is all going to be basically just not necessary anymore. The online education will be the key to this basically just education. People could basically just log in and learn and do basically just courses and of course submit the papers, evaluate themselves and correct and do basically additional basically just enhancements to their own profile in education online. They don't need to basically just come to the institutions, and they can get more basically inputs from various professors who are visiting professors. Others that we call it as visiting professors. Now you don't need, they are web professors who will be basically sitting in every other place and basically giving you education. So the whole basically just concept of education is going to change from on-site education to whole online education, and people are going to be looking at, so I can basically do multiple degrees at the same time. I don't need to basically just do a single degree, single education qualification. So a guy sitting at home can do a graduation, parallelly a post graduation if it is basically just allowed or permitted to basically just qualify for that, or basically any other skill based management course which could basically just give him edge over other professionals in terms of basically delivering his own professional career requirements. I think it's, to that extent, you can basically do multiple degrees, multiple education, and also basically just you will have one-to-one with your own professors or guides, which will be the future, and they will guide you the right prospect of. So because tomorrow it is going to be more knowledge-based education and requirement-based education than pure degrees. These are not going to be graduations are not going to make any difference. You need to have skills. You need to have an articulation. You need to basically just give them the way to basically analyze the information that it's given to you in terms of the faster medium. I think if you don't have the skills of analytics yourself, and that is going to be a shortcoming for the next generation of uh, pupils or students. They need to be turning around things much faster than the earlier generation was doing. So I think with that I could say the whole focus of education will be very different from the way we see it now.
Absolutely, I think that's true. I think education is going to change the way we deliver the education, the way we assess the education of the students, and they can do like Mani you said, we can do multiple discipline of education can be done at the same time. So I hope Professor Jadhav, your question has been answered. Is generally in this series every day we are coming to the almost the end. So Mani, I'll just take another 5 minutes of your time. Is that we also open this at this time for anybody who wants to do a kind of put up the hand and give an open question. Anybody would like to do that? Just unmute yourself and ask a question to Mani. This is your chance. Okay.
Manpreet?
Okay, that's fine. I think until they prepare themselves for this thing. We are almost coming to the end. We are almost past 4 o'clock. So one of the things that I learned about you, perhaps not many people know about you, about this aspect of money, is that you've been a pole vault champion in school. Is that right?
That was a big joke. Okay. See, I think it's lucky. I think I was a pole. See, this pole vault as an event in sports was introduced when I was in 11th standard in the school. We were passing out. That was the time. Before that, there was no pole vault, right? So nobody knew exactly how what was done. So I was very sure of one of the guys so agile, and I was very lean and thin. Even now I'm thin and agile, and I basically just became a sportsman, taking the medal in pole vault that time.
Yeah.
So, and that's why I got a. Otherwise, I'm not a sports person, anyways. So that was introduced for the first time. But I think it's otherwise. If you ask me, I was very good in a couple of things in school. We used to have an obstacle race. I was very good at that. We could do it much faster than anybody else. 8 of us. It was a record which stood for about 7, 8 years. We did about 20 obstacles within a period of less than 2 minutes.
Oh,
So
okay.
that was a record during my time. And so I was not a sports person. In fact, my brother was very good. And I was pathetically, I used to bunk, in fact, classes. And because I had a handwriting, since I used to bunk in the morning PT because I used to go to the history master's classes. The history master take that day news and go to the news board and write that day's news in the news board. So because I had a good handwriting. So ninth to till 11th, I was writing news board in my school. So I bunked PT for long.
Oh, okay. That's good to hear. I hear Manpreet, you want to talk? You want to ask a question? Manpreet, you can unmute and ask.
Yeah, good evening. No, it was, I think I just clicked on it by mistake. Sorry.
Sure.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, everybody.
Yeah, good evening. Go ahead.
Yeah, it was a highly insightful, hearing, and it's always, we all look, I think we wait for this when we have to listen to Mani, sir, and his real-time stories which really inspire us. Thank you, Mani, sir, for doing that, and we all will keep waiting for this opportunity.
What's the question?
No, sir, I don't want to ask anything. Just generally, it was by mistake I clicked on the chat.
Oh, I think you should only ask questions. You should
That's great. It's great.
Yeah. Thanks,
Manpreet. Thanks, Manpreet, for coming and talking and thanking Mani, sir. Mani, thank you once again for giving us an opportunity to know about you much better. I'm sure a lot of people have know about you from a business point of view, but personally they may not be aware. So I thought this also is I think it's your personal side is also really has a lot of people to learn from it and inspire from what you have done. So once again, I want to thank you. This was, like I said, a freewheel talk, no agenda, no structure. Just questions were made on the spur of the moment. And I think, we said, let's try this out, So every Saturday, we'll have some kind of a different structure than what we have generally on the weekdays. I hope you liked it. Do send your views to the back office. And while talking of back office, I think this is the time to recognize them. I think they have done a fantastic job. I may forget some names, but the names that I really come on to my mind is definitely Vivek, Tapas, Nilesh, and the team out there. Okay, Larissa. So I think they have done a fantastic job. What do you say, Mani?
Yeah, I have some few things. Before I basically close out this one, yes. I just want basically, there is one question Manohar has asked. I just want to answer that. Manohar says, many times you came across tough situations which were really demotivating. How do you manage such situations and what is the secret of self-motivation? Okay. Thank God. That is exactly a very right question. I said I'm a rebel, right? I said I'm an anti-guy. I don't basically just know. I'm not a conformist. So maybe I became one because of that. I know basically this is going to come one day. It's going to hit us. So you got to have an alternate view about this. So which is one of the reasons you should always think there's no end of everything doesn't end there. Everything has a comma. It's a comma. So the full stop has to be basically just far ahead. It never basically ends. So it always basically you want to have a hope of, yeah, today is a bad day, but tomorrow will be a good day. And you should basically have that confidence in you. And you should always think differently. So as long you think differently than others, then nobody can put you down. So it will now be a bad day for you. So if somebody is putting you down, you possibly get very excited. Okay, now it's time you've got to basically wake up and do good things. As long as things are all moving smooth, if you ask me, I think you are happy. And I am always full of energy and restlessness when things are very bad. And I really gear up myself. But when things are very good, I really become sad. And I'm really sleeping. I don't do anything. So I think you should be basically just, possibly just learn to be active when things are bad. Because your brain has to work that time. Otherwise, it doesn't need to work. And one of the things I also wanted to thank very specifically on this platform, which is every one of the team, which is basically from, as he rightly said, Vivek, Tapash, Nilesh, Larissa, Partho, and Tyag, and the whole lot of Manohar's team, which has been working on, and they have done a very great job. I think it's great to see the entire basically just media coming after Tapash to basically seek permission to basically be part of this show. And KK Kumar has got, I think it's 2 weeks full, and next 2 weeks also is going to be full for basically just leaders from various people coming in and sing. Next week, I think we have this the whole lot of people, and along with you have Ganesh Kumar coming from Reserve Bank of India, and we have Mr. MS Mani from Deloitte, which is also coming in. So tune in; it's going to be a very exciting seminars for you, and we'll continue to basically be there with you. And thank you for being with me for all along. And I respect you all, and I give you all the guys. Please be safe, be clean, take twice a day a bath if it is possible, if not once, because it's very hot. And keep washing your hands as and when you want. As much of basically just sanitizers at home, and keep basically just seeing the sun whenever it is possible. It's very important. And we are all here because of sun, the Surya, and he gave us life. So you have to basically remember him more than any other god you think, and that's the only god who can save you from your coronavirus. Thanks a lot for being with me.
There's a one more message that came across, the Happiness Winners Trophy. Is that something you want to talk about, or is that not from us? Okay.
Mani sir, you have to announce those winners for the happiness challenge. I just put you on the chat.
Yeah, please do. I think I have some winners to be announced today, and they are who have done some good work, or there's some photographs during this period, or some good deeds they have done for others. I think so. The names are coming up soon, so please wait till basically those names are going to be there. So thanks for the thing. I see a huge. I didn't have any voice call except Mantri was all praise. Is there any voice question before that? The praises are going to come.
It's there on your chat, please.
Yeah.
Just refer to your chat.
Yeah, happiness challenge winners, and please thank you all for participating in this, sharing your videos on the happiness challenge. The winners are, can I go from down or top? I'll go from down.
Sure.
Second runner-up is Uday Jaitpal. Can Uday Jaitpal put up your hands? You could ask me some questions. And can he? Is he there now?
You can see him.
Okay, next.
No.
Okay. Next, first runner-up is Vishwanath Murkar. Even he is not there.
Even he's not there.
And the first is Priyanka Shende. She around?
No.
No. You got all the three who are not in the show. Anyway, congratulations to all the guys, and congratulations to all of you, and enjoy your basically winnership or the trophies or other basically incentives that may come along with this. And happy basically webinars. Webinaring.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Take care.
Thank you, Mani. Bye-bye. Thanks.